So this week we are it's a hot, soft skill. We sometimes drop these into some of the sessions. And Eileen, you're taking this one today. What's it all about?
I am. I wanted to cover off learn, funnily enough. And it's really interesting because in the competency framework, we list this as a skill. And what's fascinating is people think, well, actually, how can learn be a skill? But it is a skill to actually, this ability to gain knowledge by study, instruction, or experience. And I'm sure we all know somebody where we try to teach them or show them something, and they're just not learning it all of the time. And I think as a PMO manager, we talk about, we've talked on several occasions, even the bit John's just done there, about actually finding out what's out there in the outside world, thinking about what is going to be useful within our organisation, and actually kind of taking the organisation on that journey. But we have to open ourselves and we have to develop this kind of skill of learning. And there's a great paper, Lindsay goes on to the next slide, there's a great paper that's been written by McKinsey's, and I love this this quote from it, is that learning itself is a skill, and the development of it is a critical driver of long-term career success. So we talk about an intentional learner and somebody who continues to do. You will have all have heard this kind of lifelong learning concept. And as a PMO professional, that's really what we're about. And as it says there, people who've mastered the mindsets and skills of effective learning can grow faster than their peers and gain more of the benefits from all of the learning opportunities that come their way. So, if you're in the PMO, actually being a kind of very open in terms of learning new things has to be within your skill set, but also something you practically do. And the McKinsey paper does talk about this kind of concept of intentional learning, actually kind of going out, not just kind of soaking up things. I'm very conscious we've got people who sit on our webinars, and we have a lot of people, me included, I sit through lots of webinars out of, kind of just a little bit of interest. But when they talk about kind of actually taking learning to the next level, it's about that intentionalness of actually kind of deciding you want to kind of learn something. And on the next slide, so Lindsay's going to love me this because it's going to be a build up, and I'm going to trust her to build it up as I kind of speak through this. Yes. So it always starts with curiosity. Now, again, we've talked about this several times, that actually being curious is a really important attribute of people who work in a PMO. And that curiosity then kind of drives you to go on to the next stage, cue Lindsay, where we actually go and have some kind of exploratory play. Now, the important bit is that, this exploration play is really is that intentional, where we set some goals, we know exactly what we're going to learn. And I think one of the interesting things about learning is not about saying, I'm going to learn about agile development, but actually be kind of quite specific in terms of what you want to learn and what the outcomes of that learning are you want it to be. And then we would then go away and actually have some kind of what we would call kind of some meaningful experience. We want to go and actually kind of give it a go. Now, this might mean we learn a bit of agile, we learn a bit of SAFe, and we try and practice that. When I have taught kind of project management in the past, I've gone away and said to, particularly people coming into project management for the first time, just practice planning your Christmas dinner. Actually kind of do the whole kind of Gantt chart, because actually kind of planning those skills, really getting under the skin, not just looking at it and thinking, yeah, I could do that. Yeah, I know how that works. You actually have some kind of meaningful experience. Now, what might happen is actually, if we kind of go on the next bit, is actually there might be some failure. And it's really easy to kind of give up at this point. But what actually drives us, if you kind of do another couple of taps, Lindsay, is actually our passion for learning, our passion for making a difference should actually drive us to kind of go back to have a bit more exploratory play and actually do that meaningful experience, which means we can then complete the learning journey, because what that then goes on to as Lindsay will show us any second now, is that actually we get some enlightenment. When you get that up, the penny's dropped. Right now, I actually understand. And you know what John was saying before, we can go on the safe course, but actually it's only when we've practiced, when we've looked at it and played with it in our particular organisation, do we have that kind of enlightenment that says, right, then exactly how we want to kind of use that, or make a conscious decision not to use it in our organisation. And then the final bit there is that actually, yes, we've actually kind of satisfied our need, or kind of that objective of setting out the learning, and actually we feel empowered then to be able to kind of go and use it. And I think a lot of people, when they kind of look at their kind of whole learning piece, kind of stop at the curiosity. They don't really kind of plan out the kind of the structure of their learning. And as you know, we've got the competency framework reiterated around not just from ourselves but from McKinsey, and also this piece here in terms by Sasha Oz, in terms of actually kind of planning through your learning, what you're going to hope to do with it. And what I really like, particularly in this model, it's our passion for the subject area in terms of kind of PMO, our passion for improving project and program delivery in our organisation, that actually kind of keeps us in there until we've actually kind of got something useful for our organisation.
Okay,
so
yeah,
a skill for us all to develop.
Well, I know you've enjoyed putting that together as well. I think it's again, I think meaningful learning, and the fact that you talk about that we often stop at curiosity. I totally agree with that. And comment here that I feel like you're on a constant journey of learning, and that encouraging team members to do the same, and saying, I realise that I can't learn everything, but between us we can share and learn so much more. And that's what we encourage a lot with our members, and also corporate members, that if everybody can't get to every session that we're doing, get at least one person there that feeds back to everybody else, is a step in the right direction at the very least. So thank you very much.